The twin suns of Archon Prime were rising slowly, sending soft golden light across the tall crystal towers of the royal capital. The city looked calm and peaceful, but inside the palace, a storm of pride and arrogance was already awake. Princess Lyra of House Valoris walked through the grand training hall with her head high. Her long silver hair flowed behind her like a shining comet. Every guard bowed deeply as she passed. She enjoyed their fear and respect. It made her feel powerful. It made her feel untouchable. Behind her walked a human servant named Ethan. He carried a stack of training pads on his back. His steps were slow but steady. He did not complain. He simply followed her with quiet eyes. Ethan was not like the other humans in the palace. There was something different in his calm face. But nobody cared enough to see it. Humans in Archon Prime were considered weak. They were used for cleaning, carrying, and basic chores. The aliens laughed at their soft bodies and slow muscles, and no one laughed more than Princess Lyra. To her, Ethan was the weakest of them all. As she reached the center of the training hall, she turned sharply and looked at him with a cruel smile. "Ethan, you walk slower than a broken drone," she said in a cold voice. Her soldiers laughed behind her, but Ethan did not respond. He simply placed the training pads on the floor and bowed his head. His silence irritated Lyra even more. "Say something," she demanded. "Do humans not speak? Or are you too weak to use your tongue?" Ethan lifted his eyes for a moment. His voice was soft and steady. "I speak only when needed." "Princess," his answer was simple, calm, and respectful. But Lyra felt insulted. She stepped closer, her boots clicking loudly on the polished floor. "You think you are strong?" she asked. "Look at you. You can barely lift those pads." Ethan stayed silent again. His face showed no fear, no anger, no sadness. It confused her. Most humans cried or trembled under her insults, but Ethan just stood there. Lyra's heart twitched with annoyance. She hated things she could not understand. The hall grew silent for a moment. The guards watched the strange tension between princess and servant. Something about this human felt wrong to them, but they could not explain why. Deep under the palace floor, something ancient stirred. A faint vibration moved through the walls. Unnoticed by most, it was old energy, sleeping for centuries. Something that should never wake up again. As Lyra turned away from Ethan and prepared for her morning combat practice, the floor trembled slightly. She stopped, looking around with irritation. Is someone shaking the palace? Fix it. But Ethan felt something different. A soft pulse of warmth hit his chest. His hands trembled for a second. He quickly hid them behind his back. He felt this pulse before as a child, but he never understood it. His father once told him, "You have something inside you, Ethan. Something old. Something powerful." But Ethan never believed it. He lived his life quiet and unseen, trying not to draw attention. But today, the palace was reacting to him. The old energy deep beneath the floor was responding to his presence, like a sleeping giant opening one eye. Lyra picked up a glowing practice spear and began her training routine. She moved with fast and perfect form, spinning the spear through the air. She wanted Ethan to watch. She wanted him to see what real strength looked like. "Human," she shouted without looking at him. "Observe and learn. This is power. This is grace, not your slow, weak steps." Her spear sliced through the air, releasing flashes of blue light. The soldiers clapped, admiring her speed and skill. Ethan stood still, watching quietly. But he felt the vibration grow stronger. His heart began to beat harder. A strange heat filled his body. His vision sharpened slightly. Something was waking up inside him. Lyra charged across the hall with a bold jump. But the trembling floor made her foot slip. She stumbled, losing balance for the first time in years. The soldiers gasped. Princess Lyra never lost balance. It was impossible. Ethan stepped forward instinctively to help her, even though she had mocked him moments ago. But the moment he moved, the ground vibrated again, this time harder. A deep humming sound rose from the lower chambers of the palace, like an ancient machine turning on after ages of silence. Lyra froze for a moment. What is happening? But Ethan felt the truth. The palace was reacting to him. The princess, confused and angry, looked at the human she hated most. She had no idea that the biggest shock of her royal life was waiting just one breath away. Because today, the weakness she mocked was about to reveal a power greater than any alien alive. And everything would start with one small accident. One moment that neither of them could stop. One moment that would change the fate of the galaxy. Princess Lyra hated losing balance. It had never happened to her before. Not in training, not in battle practice, not even as a child. She stood frozen for a moment, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. The guards around her remained silent, afraid to react. The trembling of the palace floor grew stronger, soft at first, then sharper. Like something alive was pushing against the marble from below. Dust fell from the high crystal ceiling, drifting slowly like falling stars. Ethan stepped forward again, his face calm, but his heart racing. Something inside him reacted to the shaking. It felt like invisible strings pulling him toward the princess. He did not know why, but he knew she was in danger. Lyra tried to take a step back, but her foot slipped again. The vibration hit at the exact wrong moment, and she lost control completely. With a small cry of frustration, she spun sideways. And before she understood what was happening, she fell directly onto Ethan. Lyra landed sitting on him with full force, her weight pressing against his chest and legs. For a second, the hall went silent. The soldiers' mouths fell open. The proud princess, the ruler of Archon Prime, had just fallen on a human servant, an accident no one could have imagined. Lyra's eyes widened. She tried to jump up, but something stopped her. A shock of bright golden light exploded from Ethan's body, spreading across the floor like a wave. The energy hit the walls, the weapons, and even the guards, making them all freeze in place. Lyra gasped loudly. "What is this?" Ethan's hands glowed with the same light. His breath grew deeper, and his eyes turned a warm amber color, not human anymore. Lyra felt electricity rush through her legs, then her chest, then her heart. It was as if something inside her was being unlocked. She tried to move away from him, but she could not. Her body felt stuck, connected to his energy like two magnets locked together. The palace floor stopped shaking, but the air around them shimmered with living light. The temperature rose, and a soft humming sound filled the hall. "Princess, don't move," Ethan said softly, though even he did not understand what was happening. "Do not order me," Lyra snapped, but her voice shook with fear and confusion. She tried again to stand, but the power flowing from Ethan only grew stronger. The guards finally reacted. "Your Highness." "Step away from him," one shouted. "I can't," Lyra whispered, her face draining of color. The energy wrapped around her like warm smoke. Her body felt lighter, stronger, sharper. Her senses expanded. She could hear heartbeats, feel distant footsteps, and even sense emotional vibrations in the room. "What is this feeling?" she whispered. "Why can I hear everything?" Ethan felt it too. A heavy weight lifted from his chest, and the glowing symbols began appearing on his arms. Symbols no human had seen in thousands of years. The hall doors burst open as Elder Kellis rushed inside. His long dark robe trailed behind him, and his eyes widened the moment he saw the glowing light surrounding Lyra and Ethan. "No," he whispered in horror. "It cannot be. The guardian bond." Lyra looked at him sharply. "What are you talking about?" Kellis stepped closer, his voice shaking. "Princess, You activated a sacred bond, a connection that exists only between the royal bloodline and the ancient protectors. Protectors, Lyra repeated. Humans are not protectors. They are weak. Kellis shook his head slowly. Not always, not Ethan. Ethan looked confused. I don't understand any of this. Callis turned to him with trembling hands. You carry the blood of the first guardians, the warriors who once protected our ancestors. When a guardian connects physically with a royal, their dormant power awakens. Lyra's eyes widened. Are you saying sitting on him activated this? Yes, Kellis whispered. The contact was enough. The guards stared in shock, whispering among themselves. They had mocked Ethan for years, calling him weak and useless. Now ancient energy poured from him like living fire. Lyra felt the bond tighten inside her chest. Her heart beat faster. She could feel Ethan's heartbeat inside her own body. Their energy flowed like one river. I can feel him, she whispered. I can feel his strength. Ethan felt tears sting his eyes. Not from pain, but from something deeper, something his father once told him. When you find the one you are meant to protect, your power will rise. Callis spoke again. This bond cannot be broken now, Princess. He is linked to your life force, and you to his. Lyra's pride cracked, her voice softer now. Linked to a human. Suddenly the palace alarm cried out. A deep horn echoed through the halls. Shaking the walls harder than before, Callis turned pale. The enemy has sensed the awakening. They are coming for the guardian. The soldiers tightened their grips on their weapons. Lyra looked down at Ethan, still sitting on him, still connected by light. What have we done? She whispered. Ethan's glowing eyes met hers. We woke something that was sleeping. And outside the palace, dark shapes began to move across the sky, drawn toward the new power that had just awakened. The palace lights flickered as the warning horn continued to echo through every hall. The air felt heavy, almost alive, carrying the fear of something approaching from the sky. Princess Lyra finally managed to stand up, but a thin golden thread of energy still connected her to Ethan. Glowing between their bodies like a living link, she stared at it with wide eyes. Why is it not disappearing? Elder Kellis bowed his head, his face full of worry. Because the bond is real, Princess. It will not break unless one of you falls. Lyra felt her heart tighten. She had always believed humans were weak, slow, and small. Yet now her life was literally tied to one. And the royal energy inside her kept responding to Ethan like music answering a drum. Ethan took a slow breath, his hands still glowing softly. I don't understand what is happening to me, he said, confusion heavy in his voice. Callis stepped closer. Because you were never told the truth, human history in Archon Prime is not what you think, Lyra frowned. Humans came to this world as refugees thousands of years ago. They were weak even then. Callis shook his head firmly. No, Princess, humans did not come as refugees. They came as warriors. The guards murmured in disbelief. Lyra narrowed her eyes in confusion. Ethan stayed completely still. Afraid of the truth, but unable to turn away, Callis lifted his old staff and tapped it against the crystal floor. A shimmering image appeared in the air, showing a battlefield from ancient times. Tall alien soldiers fought massive shadow creatures. But beside them stood humans strong, glowing, their bodies surrounded by the same golden light now coming from Ethan. These were the first guardians, Callis said quietly. Humans chosen by destiny to protect our royal bloodline. They were our shield, our sword, and our hope. Lyra stared at the glowing warriors, her voice barely above a whisper. But humans today are nothing like this. Because the truth was buried, Callis explained. After the Great Collapse, the energy of the Guardians disappeared. Humans lost their power. They became ordinary, and with time, our people forgot their true role. Ethan looked down at his hands. The glowing symbol still pulsing slowly. Why did it come back now? Callus turned toward him with a heavy breath. Because the Guardian line was not completely destroyed. Some families hid their children, protected their blood, waited for the right moment. And that moment is now, Lyra whispered. Callus nodded. Yes, Princess, the bond awakened because the royal energy recognized him. The Guardian and the Royal are meant to connect. Their power grows only through contact. Lyra's mind spun. She remembered the moment she fell on Ethan. She remembered the explosion of light, the power rushing into her chest. The connection that still held them together, so that stupid accident unlocked ancient energy, she muttered to herself. Callus nodded again. It was not stupid, Princess. It was destiny. The golden link between them glowed brighter for a moment. Lyra felt her heartbeat rise, and to her shock, she felt Ethan's heartbeat as well, beating in perfect rhythm with hers. This is impossible, she whispered, placing her hand over her chest. I can feel him inside me. Ethan stepped back, but the bond pulled him forward again. Gently but firmly, Callus raised his voice. The Guardian bond ties your life forces together. The stronger your connection, the stronger your combined power becomes. Lyra's eyes widened. Combined power. Callus looked toward the tall glass windows where shadows were passing across the sky. You will need it, Princess, because the enemy outside. They have come for him. Ethan felt panic rise inside him. For me. Yes, Callus said softly. The shadow creatures feed on royal energy and guardian power. They hunted across galaxies, and now Ethan's awakening calls to them like a beacon. Lyra's fear turned into anger. So because of him, the palace is under attack. Callus shook his head. No, Princess, because of him? You have a chance to survive. The guards tensed at the doors as a deep roar echoed outside. Shaking dust from the ceiling, Lyra looked at Ethan again, studying him for the first time, not as a servant, but as something else. She saw the glow in his eyes, the quiet strength in his calm face, the ancient power humming inside him. She saw someone who should have stood beside kings, not scrubbed palace floors. Why did you hide this? She asked him softly. Ethan looked confused. I didn't know, Princess. I thought I was just ordinary. His voice cracked slightly. All my life people called me weak. Lyra felt a strange twist in her chest, not pain. Something like regret. Callus stepped between them. There is no time for guilt or anger. The truth is simple, Princess. Your life and his are now linked. If one of you falls, the other falls too. Lyra swallowed hard. So if he dies, I die. Yes, Callus replied. And if you die, he dies. A cold silence filled the hall. The truth was clear now, undeniable. Ethan was no longer a weak human servant. He was the last guardian, the only one who could protect her. And she was the only one who could control and guide his awakening. Outside, the palace shields shattered with a thunderous crack. Shadow creatures screamed as they descended toward the throne room. Lyra turned to Ethan, her voice trembling but strong. And we face this together, Ethan nodded. The golden light rising again around his hands, the bond between them pulsed once, strong and bright, and the real battle began. The sky above Archon Prime turned dark as the shadow creatures descended. Their huge wings blocked the light of both suns, and their cries echoed across the crystal towers. The palace guards rushed forward, forming a defensive line. But fear was clear in their eyes. These creatures were not normal enemies. They were hunters of royal energy. And tonight they had found a fresh source inside the training hall. Princess Lyra felt the ground tremble again. Dust fell from the roof, and the golden energy link between her and Ethan pulsed faster, warning them like a heartbeat of danger. Ethan clenched his glowing hands. They are coming for me. I can feel it. Lyra stepped beside him, holding her spear tight. Then they will have to go through me first. The guards stared at her in shock. The princess was standing shoulder to shoulder with a human, something no one could ever imagine, but Lyra no longer cared about royal pride. A strange instinct had awakened inside her, something fierce and protective. Elder Kellis raised his staff. Princess, Guardian, listen carefully. The bond between you is still new. The power inside you is unstable. You must stay close to each other. If you separate, you weaken. Lyra nodded. We stay together. Ethan swallowed hard. I won't leave your side. A thunderous crash shook the palace as the main entrance shattered into pieces. 3 shadow creatures burst through, tall and thin like living smoke. Their glowing red eyes locked on Ethan, like predators sensing blood. The guards attacked first, but their blades passed straight through the creatures. Only a faint ripple showed that the enemy even felt the hit. The creatures hissed and slashed back, knocking armored soldiers across the hall. Lyra gripped Ethan's arm tightly. They are too strong for normal weapons, Kellis shouted. Only Guardian energy can hurt them, Princess. Your bond is the only weapon here. Before Lyra could respond, one of the shadow creatures leapt forward with shocking speed, aiming straight for Ethan's chest. Ethan pushed Lyra aside, and the golden light exploded outward from his body. Forming a shield of pure energy, the creature hit the shield and shrieked as smoke rose from its body. It stumbled back, wounded for the first time. Lyra stared in awe. Ethan? You heard it. You really heard it. Ethan looked at his glowing hands in disbelief. I didn't even try. The power. It reacted on its own. Another creature attacked from the right, but Lyra moved with new speed. Her spear left a bright trail of gold light as she swung it. The bond boosted her strength, giving her the power of a royal warrior and a guardian combined. The spear sliced through the shadow's shoulder, something no alien weapon had ever done before. The creature screamed and fell back. Lyra gasped. I felt your power inside me. It made me faster. Ethan nodded. Your energy made my shield stronger. Kellis smiled with relief. Yes, this is the true form of the Guardian bond. 2 lives fighting as one, but the victory was short. More shadows crawled through the broken entrance, dozens of them, their glowing eyes fixed on Ethan like wolves hunting a single spark. Lyra tightened her grip on her spear. There are too many. Ethan's voice grew steady. And we fight all of them. The creatures leapt forward together. Filling the hall with darkness, Ethan raised both hands, and the golden shield expanded, covering him and Lyra. Shadow claws struck the shield again and again, sparks of dark and light flying across the floor. Lyra stood behind him, touching his shoulder. The moment her hand connected, the shield grew thicker, brighter, stronger. She whispered, I am here. Don't lose focus. Ethan breathed deeply. I won't. Not while you're beside me. The connection pulsed, filling the hall with warm light. The shadows shrieked, backing away, some melting into smoke. The guards watched in shock. The human. He is protecting the princess, Kellis added quietly. No. They are protecting each other. But the shadows were not done. One massive creature, larger than the rest, crawled through the broken wall. Its red eyes burned brighter, and its body was made of thicker, darker smoke. Kellis gasped. The shadow leader. The guard stepped back in fear. Even Lyra felt a chill inside her chest. Ethan whispered, It's stronger. I can feel it. The shadow leader roared, the sound shaking the entire palace. It raised a giant claw and brought it down with terrible force. Ethan's shield cracked like glass under the impact. The golden light flickered weakly. Ethan groaned, falling to one knee. I can't hold it. It's too strong. Lyra grabbed him, her voice fierce. No. You are not weak. You are a guardian, and I am connected to you." She held both his hands. Letting the bond pull their energy together, a golden wave burst from them. Stronger than before, Ethan rose to his feet, the shield glowing brighter than the sun's outside. The shadow leader growled, stepping back for the first time. Lyra pointed her spear at the creature. "We end this together." Ethan nodded, golden fire burning in his eyes. The two of them stepped forward in perfect unity, their energies merging into one powerful force. And the palace walls shook once more as the final battle began. The shadow leader roared again, shaking the walls of the palace. Its massive claws cut through the air, leaving trails of black smoke behind. The smaller shadow creatures circled around it, waiting for the final strike. Their red eyes glowed with hunger. Drawn to the burning guardian energy inside Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, the golden bond between them glowing brighter than ever. Lyra could feel Ethan's breath, his heartbeat, even his fear. And Ethan could feel her determination pushing strength into his body like warm fire. Kellis shouted from behind them, "Remember, the guardian bond makes you stronger only when you fight together. Trust each other." Lyra nodded firmly. "Ethan, listen to me, you are not weak." "You were never weak." Ethan swallowed hard. "I always thought I was, Princess. I never fit in. I never had power. I was just nothing." Lyra shook her head, her silver hair catching the golden light. "You were never nothing. You were only waiting for the moment you were meant to rise." The shadow leader charged forward, swinging its giant claw straight at them. Ethan raised the golden shield again, and Lyra placed her hand on his back. The connection pulsed, and a warm rush filled both of them. The shield exploded outward with incredible force, hitting the shadow leader like a blast of sunlight. The creature screamed as its smoky body cracked open, revealing burning lines of red energy underneath. Lyra stepped forward with her spear, the weapon glowing with guardian power. She struck the creature across its chest, and the golden energy cut through the shadow like lightning. Ethan followed with a burst of light from his palms. The blast hit the creature directly, sending it crashing into the far wall. Smoke filled the hall, shaking dust from the ceiling. The guards watched with wide eyes, unable to believe that a human and a princess were fighting like ancient legends come to life. But the shadow leader was not finished. It rose again, slower this time, but more angry, its body twisted, its eyes burning brighter. It released a wave of dark smoke that spread across the hall like a deadly storm. Lyra felt her chest tighten. "Ethan, it's trying to break our bond." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we hold on stronger." He reached for her hand, their fingers locking tightly. The bond pulsed, brighter and hotter. The golden thread between them transformed into a beam of blazing light. Kellis gasped, "The final guardian mode. They are activating it." The light around Ethan and Lyra rose like a golden storm, spiraling around them, strengthening their bodies, sharpening their senses. Their hearts beat in perfect sync. Their breaths matched exactly. They were no longer two separate beings. They were one force, one weapon, one destiny. The shadow leader roared and charged again. But this time, Ethan stepped forward with no fear. His body moved with speed and precision he did not know he had. He dodged the creature's claw and released a powerful burst of golden energy directly into its chest. The creature stumbled back, stunned. Lyra leapt forward, her spear glowing bright like a star. She yelled with full strength. For the guardian bond, the spear pierced straight through the creature's heart of shadow. A massive explosion of golden and red light filled the hall, shaking the entire palace. The shadow leader screamed one last time before its entire body dissolved into smoke. Disappearing into nothing, silence filled the hall. The smaller shadow creatures froze, their red eyes dimming. Without their leader, they had no strength left. One by one, They melted into the air, leaving no trace behind. Lyra lowered her spear slowly, her chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. Ethan stood beside her, shaking slightly, his glowing hands fading back to normal. "It's over," Ethan whispered. Lyra turned to him, her eyes soft. "Yes. But because of you," Ethan looked down, still unsure. "I only did what I could." Lyra stepped closer and lifted his chin gently. "No, Ethan, you did more than that. You saved me. You saved everyone." The guards bowed deeply to Ethan, something they had never done to a human before. Their faces were full of respect, even awe. Kellis approached them with a warm smile. "The legend is true again. The Guardian and the Royal have returned." Lyra felt the bond glowing softly inside her chest. No longer wild or unstable, but warm and steady. She looked at Ethan with new eyes, the eyes of someone who finally understood his worth. "I mocked you," she said softly. "I called you weak. I treated you like nothing." Ethan shook his head. "It doesn't matter now." "But it does," Lyra whispered, "because today I saw your true strength. You are more powerful than any warrior I have ever met." Ethan's voice trembled. "And you trusted me, even when I didn't trust myself." Lyra smiled gently. "You are not my servant anymore, Ethan. You are my guardian." The golden bond glowed at her words. Accepting the truth between them, outside the palace, the suns rose again, lighting the sky with warm colors. The world was safe for now, but the bond inside them promised more adventures, more battles, and a destiny shared between two unlikely hearts. The princess who once mocked him now stood proudly beside him, and the human she once insulted was now the only one she could trust with her life. Their story had just begun.